Hello, everyone. I'm Mason Beam with the Wise News Network. And in case you missed it, Trump entered office for a second term yesterday. And with that came a slew of presidential actions that you can read for yourself fully on whitehouse.gov. Before we go on, if we can hit a like goal of 30 likes, we'll look at more of what Trump's doing upon entry to office. And if you're down there already, tell us which policies you want to hear more on in the comments. While he made 47 presidential actions, we're going to go over the ones concerning his main points from the inaugural address. Firstly, he has declared national emergency at the southern border. It begins by saying America's sovereignty is under attack, and then goes on to list what issues Trump sees at the southern border. The main issue seemingly being the cartels and the activities revolving around them. Due to his presence near the southern border, he is having the armed forces assist the Department of Homeland Security in taking full operational control of the southern border. In another action, he designated the cartels as global terrorist organizations, and in Section 2 of which it is noted that the policy of the United States is the total elimination of these organizations. The Ready Reserves and National Guard are to supply troops as they see fit to the southern border, and the Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security will be further assisting the Texas governor with the deployment of physical barriers at the border. Lastly, this declaration also overrides the FAA's and FCC's jurisdictions in regards to unmanned aircraft within 5 miles of the border. This is likely to help prevent drones dropping off or receiving narcotics. To go along with this, he will also be reinstating his Remain in Mexico policy and revoking Proclamation 10142, which was what ended the national emergency from his first presidential term. Secondly, Trump aimed his sights at inflation.
The golden age of America begins right now.
Claiming his plan to tackle it starts with unleashing American energy. This comes in the form of revoking many environmental acts put in place by the Biden administration that caused the living and working costs to rise. With this, the new Green Deal and electric vehicle mandates put in place by former President Biden's administration have been revoked. During part of this, and another action named Unleashing Alaska's Extraordinary Energy Potential goes into how the Trump administration wants to make America a global energy leader.
We will drill, baby, drill.
This plan takes place by encouraging the tapping of America's continental shelf in Alaska for oil and liquid natural gas. He also plans on forming 2 new government administrations, with the first being the External Revenue Service, which would be in charge of collecting on foreign affairs and tariffs. While this doesn't have a specific action devoted to its formation, one of the actions dealing with it is the America First policy, which plans on reviewing American trade agreements and altering them to be more beneficial for the United States where possible. The next department, which can be found in the establishing and implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency. This is aimed at making the government more functional through a government-wide quality improvement on the technology used. This is meant to result in better intergovernmental communications and ensure data integrity within the government. While more points were made, let us know which ones you'd like to hear about in the comments. Whether it's the restoration of the death penalty, the plan to only federally recognize 2 genders, or something less decisive like promoting beauty and federal civic architecture, we want to know what you want more on. That's all for today, but you can find more news like this by checking us out at wisenewsnetwork.com and following us on all our social media channels. This has been Mason Beam with the Wise News Network.